So you've got an iPhone and you know all about tapping on the screen, swiping up and down, pinching and pushing to zoom in and out, but do you know all of the different gestures that you can do on your iPhone? I reckon most people don't. That's why I'm going to share 20 amazing iPhone gestures with you in this video. Okay, let's get into it. I'm sure you already know that you can pinch and pull to zoom in and out of the Maps app. Did you know that if you double tap on the map screen, then keep your finger or thumb pressed down, you can move it up and down to zoom in and out? This is really handy if you're trying to use the Maps app one-handed. If you're in the settings part of your iPhone, you already know that you can use the menu in the top left of the screen to go back to the previous page, but you can also swipe from left to right. To do this, make sure that you're swiping all the way from the left of the screen, otherwise this might not work. The action is more of a flick than a swipe, if I'm honest, so you may have to practice this one a little bit, but once you get it, it's an incredibly quick way to navigate through the pages of settings. When you're working with passages of text, you probably already know that you can tap anywhere in the text to drop your cursor. Did you know that you can double and triple tap to select a preset amount of text? Double tapping will select the word that you're currently tapping on, whilst triple tapping will select the entire passage that you're currently tapping on. If you're typing and you suddenly make a mistake, you can shake your iPhone as if you're shaking a cocktail, and your iPhone will recognize this motion as you wanting to undo whatever you just did. You would then tap the undo button on the screen to undo the text that you just wrote. The nice thing about this is that it also works with things like moving apps or deleting apps from your homepage. The downside is that it looks a bit silly. So if you're working with text, there is another option for undoing something that you just did, and that's to use 3 fingers and swipe from right to left on the screen. Each time you do this, you will undo a piece of the text that you just wrote. Swipe from left to right with 3 fingers to redo whatever you just undid. If you're using an iPhone without a home button, you can swipe up from the bottom of the screen in any app to exit the app and return to the home screen. Note that this doesn't close the app remains open in the background. This action simply takes you back to the home screen. If you swipe and hold for a second, you'll be taken to the app carousel. From there, you can swipe left and right to navigate through all the apps that are currently open on your phone. Here you can swipe up on an app to force close it. But it's important not to make a habit of doing this too frequently. Your iPhone is designed to work most efficiently when it has apps open and can manage them on its own. Closing apps that are functioning perfectly well can actually slow down your iPhone and drain the battery faster. Nevertheless, there may be times when you need to force close an app, and this is how you would do it. Let's say that I have this photo and I want to email it to someone. I could tap the share button at the bottom of the screen and then use the share sheet to open mail, compose a new email and do it that way. There is an alternative way of doing this though, and that's to drag and drop. To do this, tap and hold on the image for a moment and move your finger to start dragging the image around the screen. This takes a bit of practice, but once you've done this a couple of times, you'll be really good at it. Keep your finger on the screen and with your other hand or another finger, swipe up from the bottom of the screen to exit the Photos app. In the case of an email, you could then just drag the image onto the Mail app. This will open a brand new email with your image preloaded, ready for you to edit and then send. This works on all kinds of apps, including messages, so give it a try. If you're in Safari and you suddenly realize that you want to go back a few pages, rather than tapping the back button multiple times, just tap and hold on the back button and then choose the page that you'd like to go to from the list that appears. My videos are all about learning what your iPhone can do, and if you've built up any kind of following on social media, the way that your audience learns more about you is by going to your bio and looking for a link. Connection is everything. Whether you're an influencer or a designer or a content creator like me, you want to engage with your audience and share your online identity. The best way to do that is with a .bio domain name. Instead of a really long Linktree URL that most people won't understand and nobody is going to remember, why not use your .bio domain for your link in bio page instead? It lets you manage all your links in one place with a custom domain name that works for you and your brand. Whether it's getting people to look at your work, engage with your content, or discuss your latest opinions with you, your audience can do it with just one click. Short, memorable, and professional, your .bio name is your way to share yourself with the world. You can scan the QR code on screen or click the link in description, and remember to use the code BIOPHT to get your own .bio domain name for less than $3 at Porkbun. Be honest, how many times have you wanted to move an app from one page of your home screen to another, and you do that thing where you drag the app to the edge of your iPhone's display and then wait patiently for your iPhone to move you across to the next page? Sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. A much easier way of doing this is to tap and hold to move the app around your screen, then with another finger or with your other hand, swipe to the next page whilst still holding the app down. Your iPhone will move to the next page and you simply let go of the app wherever you want it. If you find pressing buttons at the top of your iPhone screen difficult when holding it with one hand, you're not alone. iPhones are getting bigger all the time, and using them one-handed can be difficult. There is a feature that you can enable in accessibility called Reachability. Open Settings, choose Accessibility, then choose Touch, and ensure that Reachability is toggled on. With this enabled, you can flick down from the bottom section of your iPhone, and you'll notice that the screen will scroll down with you. This does take a little bit of practice, both getting used to the flick motion that you'll need to do and figuring out exactly where you need to do this. But once you get the hang of it, it's very easy and you'll be able to do this with either a finger or a thumb. With the screen swipe down, you simply tap to do whatever you need to do at the top of the screen, and it should automatically return back to normal afterwards. If you go to the control center, you'll see that there are swipe controls for both the brightness of your display and the volume of your phone. However, if you tend to use the buttons on the left side of your phone to change the volume, you know that you just have the option to tap up and down. You can technically use both methods if you like. Tap the volume up or down button to display the volume bar on the screen, then swipe on the volume bar to access swipe options for adjusting it. You need to be quick to make this work as the volume bar disappears very quickly, but once you've mastered this technique, it becomes really easy to use. Here I've got a note, and in that note, I've got some bullet points. You're no doubt aware that you can use indentation to have sub-bullet points underneath your existing bullet points, and there is a swipe gesture to help you do this. Simply swipe from left to right on a bullet to increase its indentation. Swipe from right to left on a bullet to decrease its indentation. If you tap and hold on a message in the Messages app, you have a number of options to choose from, including things like copy, translate, and speak. But for most people, you probably just want to either react to a message or reply to it. Because of this, Apple has made these two options available by simply double tapping on a message. As you can see, I just tapped on one of the messages and I can choose to either reply or react. I'm not sure how useful this one actually is, so if you're someone who finds this useful, do drop me a comment and let me know why you find it useful. But when you're typing, you can use 3 fingers to pinch and push, kind of like you do when you're zooming in and out to copy and paste. With some text selected, use 3 fingers to create a pinch motion on the screen. You can see that this copies the text to the clipboard. Then use your 3 fingers to push outwards on the screen, and this functions as a paste. This one definitely takes some practice to get good at, but it does work. So here I have a lot of emails and I want to quickly select all of them. I could tap the edit button at the top of the screen and then make my way down the screen, tapping the select buttons next to each of the emails. Alternatively, once I've pressed the edit button, I could use my finger to swipe down the select buttons to select multiple emails at once. Without even pressing the edit button, I could use 2 fingers to swipe down the screen, which will select multiple items all at the same time. There's a similar trick that you can use in the Photos app. Tap the select button in the top right corner of the screen and then swipe your finger across images to select multiple images. You can swipe from left to right to select a line of images, or you can swipe diagonally downwards to select multiple rows of images. By the way, if you're enjoying the content here, why not consider signing up to my free newsletter, The Proper Weekly, which you can do via the link in the description of this video or by scanning the QR code on screen now. The newsletter goes out each Friday and I include some tech news from the week, a behind the scenes of what's happening here on the channel, as well as a tip for an item in the Apple ecosystem. If you want to work with multiple images or files on your iPhone, you can create stacks. To do this, tap and hold on the first image or file that you'd like to work with and move it around to start dragging it on the screen. Whilst keeping that image or file selected, use your other hand or a different finger to tap on the other images or files that you'd like to add to your stack. You'll see a count on the screen, which represents the number of items that you're adding to your stack. With the stack still selected, you can then open another app like the Files app, Mail app, or Messages app, and drop the stack directly in. This is kind of an old one now, but I still find people who don't know about this, and it's an absolute game changer if you're learning about this for the first time. When you're dealing with text on your iPhone, tap and hold on your spacebar. You can then move your finger around the screen and this will move the cursor around in relation to your finger movement. This allows you to place the cursor exactly where you want in the text that you're working on, giving you precise control over what you're writing. When you're in Safari and you have lots of tabs open and you want to move from one to another, I think what most people do is they tap on the tabs button in the bottom right-hand corner and then tap on the tab that they would like to open instead. There is another way that you can do this, and that's to swipe down at the bottom of the screen where the address bar is. You can swipe left and right here, and this will move you from one open tab to the next. If you go into Settings, then Accessibility, then Touch, and scroll all the way to the bottom of this menu, there is an option called Backtap. Tap into here and you can choose to enable either a double or triple tap of the back of your phone. For the sake of this illustration, we'll do this with a double tap, but understand that it's exactly the same whether you do this for a double tap or a triple tap. The only difference is what you will have to input to make this work. When you tap into double tap, you can see that you can choose from a number of different functions to enable when you perform the double tap. You might want this to open the camera, in which case you would choose camera. You might want this to enable reachability, in which case you would choose reachability. I know a lot of people use this for taking screenshots as they find it easier than the traditional method. Choose your option for this example. I'm going to choose screenshot. With that done, you would then simply double or triple tap the back of your phone accordingly. You may want to experiment between double tap and triple tap to see what works for you. Some people find that having double tap enabled makes the phone a bit trigger happy with this, while others find the exact opposite. All across your iPhone, there are potentially hidden functions if you don't know about them, and that's the ability to tap and hold something to gain further options. So for example, on an app on the home screen, if you tap and hold for a moment, you may find that there are quick options that you can access without having to open the app entirely. For example, tapping and holding on the mail icon will give you quick options for accessing your inboxes or composing a new mail. Doing this on the camera will give you the option to jump straight into a portrait selfie, a video, or a regular selfie. This functionality also exists within apps. For instance, in the camera app, if I tap and hold on the format at the top of the screen, I can then change it to the different options available. Another useful feature is the keyboard. You can tap and hold on individual letters to get different accents of that letter. For example, you can tap and hold on the 0 key to get the degree symbol. You can tap and hold on the emoji button to access the left and right-handed keyboard. There are too many of these features across the iPhone ecosystem to show you all of them, but a good rule of thumb is that if you haven't tried tapping and holding on something on the iPhone yet, give it a go, as you may find it unlocks additional options for you. If you're navigating your way through an especially long Safari article, the way that most of us do this is by swiping our way down the screen. The problem is this is a bit like using the track wheel on a mouse. You can end up going way too fast or way too slow. Instead, tap and hold on the scroll bar on the right side of the screen, and you can then drag up or down as you wish, working your way through the article much more accurately. So there you go, 20 gestures that I reckon every iPhone owner should know. Any in here that you didn't know about, or any that I should have included? Drop me a comment and let me know. And as ever, if you found this video useful, do please consider leaving me a like and subscribing to my channel for more content like this in the future. See you on the next video.